What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. Your host, Matt Johnson, here. As we kick off the last full week of October, I want to start today's show with a Bulls Magic recap. The Bulls coming out on top on Saturday night, 110-98 in Orlando. Unbelievable performance again from the Chicago Bulls team to start the year off 2-0 now. The Bulls build off of a solid opening night win against the Pistons at home with this stellar performance against what I believe to be one of the East's better teams this season. The Bulls shot 47% from the field Saturday night in Orlando. Josh Giddey led the way for the Bulls and led all scorers on Chicago's side with 21 points. When you look at this contest as a whole, just an awesome performance from the bench. The bench played a huge role in this win over Orlando. The Bulls had 31 bench points at half or heading into the half and finished the contest with 58 points off the bench there. Another standout, Tre Jones, a career-high 5 steals in this one. He continues to play a solid role early on for this Bulls team. Overall, the Bulls had 7 players finish in double figures, so something that continues to be the trend early on here is that the Bulls continue to win in a group effort. There's not really one standout, although Josh Giddey led the way in scoring. There's not really one guy who's pushing the pace and carrying the load, and that it speaks to how strong the Bulls looked in the first 2 contests to open the regular season. Something we saw kind of carry over from the preseason slate there. So kind of switching gears, a guy that I continue to be impressed with, and he stood out in this one again, Patrick Williams. He continues to play very meaningful minutes for this Bulls team and Billy Donovan. Pat Williams spoke post-game to what I basically started the show with, and that was the depth of the team being a strength of theirs. Looking at Pat's numbers, he finished with 12 points in 29 minutes of action. He was 5 of 7 from the field and 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. But when you look at Pat Williams' performance overall, he gave Billy Donovan very meaningful contributions off the bench once again. I think this guy's going to continue to get a ton of minutes here, as if he really has a starting role on this team. I think that Pat Williams is viewed as a guy that could be flipped into the rotation at any point here, given the minutes that he's getting. Even if he continues to be the bench guy, I'm fine with that. I'm actually really excited about what his role is kind of molding into with this Bulls team, because he could be one of your biggest contributors consistently off the bench if he stays healthy, and could be the 6th man for this Bulls organization moving forward. Definitely of encouragement when you look at a guy like Pat Williams and where he was a year ago, moving into a season where really a lot was, to be desired in terms of what his role was going to be, not filling the shoes that he, brought into this Bulls organization with how high they took him in the draft. So definitely, encouraged by what I've seen from Pat Williams. I know it's super early. Kind of going on the other side of things here, Isaac Okoro, he struggled mightily in Orlando. Is it time to worry on a guy like Isaac Okoro? I think so, although his performance Saturday night leaves much to be desired. I know it's only the 2nd game of the season, but as a Bulls fan, I'm not pleased really with what I saw Saturday night from Okoro. 22 minutes of action there. He was 0 of 6 shooting, 0 of 3 from beyond the arc. He had 4 rebounds and 0 assists. He also picked up 4 fouls in just 22 minutes of action there. So a slow start for Isaac Okoro in his Bulls tenure. Look for him to bounce back in the next contest at home against the Atlanta Hawks. You really got to keep your fingers crossed. The Bulls invested a lot into Isaac Okoro, obviously flipping a valuable piece in Lonzo Ball and what he meant to this organization for a guy like Isaac Okoro. So, you got to hope that Isaac Okoro picks up on the consistency element of his game and really pushes the pace on the defensive side of the ball like we expected him to do after that trade went down. So I think Isaac Okoro has a bright future ahead of him here in Chicago. Slow start. I'm a little discouraged by what I saw in Orlando, but that doesn't mean, that he can't turn it around quickly. There's a lot of season left. So going to stay optimistic on Isaac Okoro here. I know Bulls fans probably feel the same way. You want to see him get going, especially until Kobe White comes back here. Hopefully we get Kobe back soon. So I don't necessarily think it's time to worry, although that performance did raise some eyebrows in Orlando for Isaac there. Kind of wrapping up this show today, I want to talk about a Bulls Hawks preview and what to expect in the Bulls' next contest here. The Bulls will host Atlanta in their next contest. 7 p.m. tonight at the United Center in Chicago on CHSN. You can catch that game on CHSN. Atlanta comes into Chicago 1-2 off of a 117-100 loss to the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder on Saturday night in Atlanta. Something to watch in this one. I talked about Josh Giddey leading the way in Orlando in terms of the scoring department. The Bulls list Josh Giddey, as questionable tonight versus Atlanta with a fourth MCP sprain of his right finger. So that's something to watch and monitor as we move into the next contest here with Atlanta. Giddey didn't play the final 4 minutes and 27 seconds versus Orlando, although it's unclear if that was related to injury or if Ayo Dosunmu or Trey Jones were just cooking, and they decided to finish off that contest that was kind of already out of reach by Orlando at that point. So, we'll see what happens with Josh Giddey tonight. Kevin Huerter subbed in for Giddey. Something to watch, certainly, as we head into this matchup. Obviously, Josh Giddey's a huge part of this team. So the Bulls listing him as questionable on that injury report is something of note there. It is so early in the season. You don't really want guys to be pushed through an injury like that and where it could get aggravated or even become worse. So, when you look at the line on this game tonight, I think Giddey's questionable status has a lot to do with where it sits. Atlanta comes into this one as a 1.5-point favorite. You can get the Bulls at a 1.5 there if you want to take the side there. The Atlanta Hawks are minus 125 on the money line. You can get the Bulls at plus 105. So pretty much a pick 'em when you look at this one or close to it. The total sits at 242.5. I think when you look at this, if you guys want to get some action on this one, I think your best wager would be the under 242.5 on the total. I don't see this thing getting there, especially if the Bulls are kind of, hampered by some of these injuries, especially if Giddey is out tonight. I think you're going to see that total move. You might even see that line move. We'll see how Atlanta's side of things look in terms of what they're going to roll out there with the starting lineup. The total seems high for me, though, for a couple of teams who could be shorthanded. I know Kristaps is still working his way back. Trae Young's really the guy who's carried the load for them. They actually picked up, and I did see, if you guys remember from the Summer League, Mohamed Gee was a guy that the Bulls brought in briefly. He started or played meaningful minutes in the Atlanta Hawks Saturday night contest in the game they dropped to the Thunder, though. So we'll see if Giddey's a go. If both squads are relatively at full strength, I still expect this thing to go under. I think that this pace, although both teams like to play fast and get up shots, I think this thing is going to be played at a slow enough pace for the total to dip under there. So, when you look at the Bulls in specific in their first two contests, both of them have gone under this number relatively easily. So that's a high mark there. Excited for this matchup overall, though. I think it's going to be some good basketball. The Bulls look to start 3-0, and you couldn't ask for a better start to the season if you're Billy Donovan and Arturas Karnisovas in this Bulls brass as they wait to get their star player in Kobe White back from his multi-week absence here. So excited for tonight's contest. Let me know what you guys think in the comments on what your prediction is for the Bulls-Hawks contest tonight. Thanks again for joining me, guys. Your support goes a long, long way. Thank you for you guys who have been loyal to Bulls Latest since the show began. You guys do not go unnoticed. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Bulls Latest today. We will get to you with a Bulls-Hawks recap following tonight's contest. Go Bulls, and we will see you guys tomorrow.